So what database will actually extract is this value, but in just order to even extract this particular value, our database has to traverse all the cells. Though we are just extracting the total amount for the sales orders, we even have to traverse all the cells. Yeah. So this is bad. This is a bad way of organizing the data, that I have to traverse all the cells in the memory, because this is how they organize the data. But now imagine if I change the organization of my data in a different way. So I will actually have now a column way of storing data where all the columns are stored together. So if I come here and if I just put the data like this, yeah, where I'm going to store all the columns data together. Yes, like this, something like this. So let's do that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 order number. Then I have first row cust 1 is getting stored, second row cust 2 is getting stored, third row cust 1 is getting stored, fourth row cust 2 is getting stored. Then I have next one first row material 1 is getting stored, second row material 2 is getting stored, third row material 2 again getting stored, fourth row material 1 is getting stored. Then I have amounts 200, 900, 500 and 600. And finally I have US dollars for first row, second row US dollars, third row US dollars, fourth row US dollars. Yeah. So this is that way of organize. It's just the way database internally organize the data. Again I'm repeating, again and again I'm repeating. It doesn't matter for you as a developer to design your table in a different way. You still use SE11, you still develop your table in the exact same way, the way you've been doing till today. This is internal organization of data, how database is designing and storing its data so that it can perform operations faster. So now can anyone tell me how many cells does the database need to traverse to get the answer of the same question? How many cells database? Exactly, very good answer. You just need to traverse just 4 cells. Very good. That's all. Database doesn't need to traverse other cells. So which is the storage type is good performance when you want to find the total sales? Can anyone guess which organization of data store is better in this situation? Column store is better. But if you think column store is always better, let me give a second use case. The second use case says get all the rows of all the columns, which means select star from my database table. Yeah, all columns, all rows. In this case, let's see what happens. So in case of row store, all the data is stored together. System will simply go, it will fetch all the data, consecutive memory location, it will fetch. But the problem happens with column store. The column store, in order to reconstruct the record, it has to jump between these multiple column store areas. Yes. Then it has to reconstruct second row. It has to jump over these multiple areas, right? So what do you think in case of question number two, which storage is better, row store or column store? Which one is better? Exactly. In case number two, row store is better performant, but in case number one, column store is better performant. Now, I want you to put your hand on your heart and tell me, was there any time in your life, in your career, last 20 year, 10 year, 20 year, 15 year, whatever career you had in ABAP, it doesn't matter how many years you spent on ABAP, how many times you truly needed all the columns of your database table. Have you ever developed a report where you needed all the columns of your database table? Have you ever needed all the columns? Truly putting your hand on your heart with honesty, you have to tell absolutely not, right? Let me give an example. Let me give an example. So let me go to our table. Let me open one table actually. Go to the system. So let me open any table. Let's say Mara table, material master, very popular table. How many columns it has? 345 columns it has. Tell me now, did you ever needed a report which need to process all 345 columns of Mara table? Have you ever written in a report in your career which actually required all the columns? No, no, never, never. At least I have not written in last 21 years of working in ABAP. Never written never written a report which truly need all the columns. But what do? We are lazy. We are lazy of writing select star. Why? Because we feel that selecting all column is good for us. Perhaps today I need just 3 columns out of all, but maybe I might need in future some more. So that future never comes. So remember one thing, if you're using column store, writing select star is risky. It is bad for performance. Yeah. So honestly speaking, we don't need all columns all the time when it comes to building applications. So now it's time that since we are moving most of our tables to column store, it is recommended by SAP to not use or avoid using select star. Yeah. However, there might be cases where you still might need select star, but certainly not always. Okay. So this is the difference between row store and column store. We would certainly get most of the benefit out of system if we use column store, and HANA is predominantly a column store database. Where can I change this setting for my table? So point one, for standard SAP table, you will not change it. SAP will change it. But for custom tables which you have in your company, if your company is on ABAP on HANA system, you can change this setting by going to database table. Any database table you have, you go to technical settings, database properties, and here you have column store and row store. So you can change it from a row store to column. You can see for Mara, which is a standard SAP table, SAP delivered table, it is kept here as a column store. Yeah. So most of the tables, if you see in SAP, they have changed it to a column store table already. Now undefined means let the database decide. That's what it means. But most of the table SAP already kept it as column store. So next time in your company system, you can also go ahead and decide to keep it column store. I will also share the guidelines with you in a minute, but this is where you can change as a developer. This is all what you need to do as a developer. Rest all process is still the same. You still create data elements, you still create tables exactly in the same way. But how you want database to organize the data internally is what you can control using this database specific property for column store versus row store. Now, let's look at other benefits of column store. So how frequently can we change row to column or column to row? Not frequently. Remember, for database, it is too much of work. For you, it's a radio button, but for database, it's a upside down. Yeah. So do not just play with this button, play with this option every day. Okay. It's done once and that's all. Or probably it is done at the time when the system is relatively free, maybe over the weekend when the database is breathing to actually do this change. It's a critical change behind the scene, the way database organize its data. So we don't do it frequently until unless we truly need it or until unless we really need to do this. Usually it is done on a very low level. Now select single star, will it also have performance impact? Certainly not, because there you are anyway restricting the number of rows to be selected. So constructing one record is not that expensive as compared to constructing all the records fetching from all the column stores. Yeah. So that is why select single star will not have big performance problem. Select star will have if it's a column store table. So now what are the other advantages of column store? Let me explain that. So guys, what happens usually in a company, you have billions of records. Yeah, billions of records you have in your company sales order table. So calculating the total every day if it is needed is very expensive, very expensive. Yeah, so if your manager asks you to calculate total of sales of 10 million records, it might take 5 minutes. Yeah, so every day this time keep on increasing as your business is growing. So what people have done, they play little smart. They say what I will do probably is I will calculate the total till last night. Yeah, so I will go to the system and I will run a report which will run for 10 minutes, and I will calculate total till last evening. What is the total till last evening? Yeah, so let's say the total comes as 25 billion dollars of sales. Now, today my manager, if they ask what is the total sales, then what I do, I will take this input from till last night and I will just get today's sales, which is hardly, let's say 100 records. So I got today's sales as, let's say 0.005 billion, let's say. So I will just total these two, last night result till last night, whatever was total, and this. So this way I can speed up my total by storing this result which I calculated last night in another database table, and this database table is called aggregate table, aggregation table. Yeah, to speed up my total operation or to speed up my aggregation. So basically we are doing a sum, min, max, average, all these are called aggregation. Yeah, so if you are doing a sum, we're doing aggregation. So to speed up my aggregation, what people started doing, they started storing the aggregated data into another database table so they can speed up the operations. Yeah, this actually backfire because you have now more storage requirement to store aggregate data and synchronize aggregate data. It creates more overhead on database. But with column store, now we don't need a aggregate table because column store can process this or get you this data on the fly. You don't have to store separate aggregate. And the another biggest advantage, because you're running on multi-core CPU. Remember, HANA is a multi-core CPU. So you can have one core, let's say core one totaling these values. Then you have another core two, let's say totaling these two values. So this way parallel processing makes the operation very faster, and you do not need to store aggregate data in the table anymore, or you don't need to maintain these aggregation tables. So this has bring down the storage requirement also to some extent when it comes to using HANA. And this is my next point, was to actually avoid using aggregation tables and doing a on-fly aggregation right away. With multi-core CPU, it is possible at a very fast pace rather than storing the last till last night data in aggregate table. So this is another benefit you get when it comes to aggregation. The third thing what you can notice here, if you see this data, so row number one has this, row number two has this, row number three has this, row number four has this. I can say I will not store this data in this format. Rather, I will store it in a different way. What is the different way? So the different way will be, I'll say, hey, row number one and row number three has cust one, row number 2 and row number 4 has cust 2. So basically I am not storing cust 1 two times. I am storing cust 1 only one time, and I'm storing cust 2 only one time. It has automatically compressed the data. You don't need to worry about that. The data compression is very good in a column store. You can store, or the database can compress this data, and when it comes to constructing or reading the data, database work with these numbers first. Before working with this data itself, database will work with numbers. So anyone can easily say computers can process numbers much faster as compared to the text and characters. So database will fetch this data much faster. It can manipulate the data much faster, and that way it's a great situation that you get automatic compression and speed up, boosting the speed up of the operation because of you traversing with numbers. So this is another benefit you get when it comes to using column store. Data is compressed also. The third benefit you see, that each column, if you see here, this, it looks like an index. Yeah, what is an index? Definition of index in database: it's basically all the unique values of your column along with row number. So you can see each column has row number and the value. So naturally, this becomes an index. Each column here itself acting like an index. So you do not need any more secondary indexes in database. Yes. So this is another advantage. We have brought down also the storage requirement. Earlier, we used to create secondary indexes in databases, but now to some extent, we don't need to create secondary indexes anymore. Wow. And that is also, you can see now, if I go to system, and show you some indexes of this Mara table. Yeah. And if you can say, let's say I pick up this index. Yeah. And if I just double click, you can see this index, which is a secondary index, which earlier used to be created by SAP. It says non-unique index, secondary index for selected database system. And if I go to this details, it says exclude. Exclude means do not create this index anymore if the database is, can anyone tell what HDB stands for? I will not complain your manager that you gave wrong answer in the class. What HDB? Exactly, HANA DB. So system is telling that do not create this index if the database is HANA. So you can clearly see it brings down the total cost of storage in the system also. So with adopting column store, you can also avoid creating unnecessary secondary indexes, because each column itself will work like a secondary index. This is another great benefit of using SAP HANA. I'm sure everybody is clear. This next point also, that we can get rid of secondary indexes, we can get rid of the aggregate tables, we can get on-fly data, we get a good compression with column store. So all these points I've explained now, it will be more clear for you. The next approach is called insert only approach. What is insert only approach? So guys, traditional database system which are row store based, if you update any data, let's say for fourth record, I updated data from customer 2 to, let's say, another customer 4. Yeah. So what happens in traditional databases? Traditional databases, this whole record, yeah, this whole record will be rewritten inside something called change document. Yeah. So remember guys, we are working with enterprise, we are working with companies, we are not dealing with personal data, that if you lose the data, you will not have a problem. In companies, there are IP compliances. IP compliance means if, let's say, a data got changed, we need to track what changes were made to the data. So for that, there is a concept in SAP called change document. So whenever the data changes, the change document will be written and it will be rewriting the whole record. So a change document is actually very bulky, because it rewrites, let's say if you editing some one of the cell of Mara table, then it rewrites the all 364 columns of Mara in the change document, which is very dirty, and it increases the huge storage space. So in column store, what system does, if you change the data, it works on insert only approach. It will insert one more record with the same key with, say, cust3. But then you say, Anubhav, are you crazy? Is it possible to have two records with same key? Uh, Guys, this is the internal organization of data. You will not see this live in action actually when you see this, but this is how a database will internally organize it. But the difference here will be this new record will be at a higher timestamp. So let's say at 10 a.m. in the morning, the data at record number three was cust1. But what happened at 11 a.m. in the morning? Somebody changed this data. Somebody changed this data from cust 1 to cust 3. So this is what happened at 11 o'clock. So the data is not searched and data is not updated. Rather, a new record with the same key is inserted in the column, into a tiny column store. And this is the timestamp. So when a select query is fired, system will check the data with the higher timestamp. Yeah, and it will fetch this data only. And this way you also have IP compliance. You know that 11 o'clock, the record number 3, this particular column data was changed from 1 to 3. This is also written as a change document automatically. You don't have to rewrite the whole record. And additionally, you got another benefit of achieving a better mechanism to store the data. So you don't have to search, you don't have to waste time searching and updating the data. So this is another benefit of column store, which is called insert only approach. By the way, this new data which is inserted, it's written inside a special store called delta store. Yeah, in HANA there is something called delta store. So if you check the change log checkbox in the database table setting, only then it will happen, otherwise not. So there is something called delta store, which I will also explain you little later once we go to the system. So this new record will, which is insert only, will be done inside a delta store. I will explain what is delta store later on, but basically all the data which is getting changed is written in a delta store with higher timestamp, and data will be fetched which is higher timestamp data that will be fetched when the data is queried. So user will always see the updated data on the front end, but actually behind the scene there is also a IP compliance and there is also insert only. Yeah. This is how HANA organize the data internally in column store. Now coming to the most important question which you asked, Anubhav, when to decide when to choose row store and when to decide when to choose column store. So when the change log is selected, only then it will happen. Yes. So there is a setting in SAP called change log. Only then it will do like this. Yeah. So there is a setting called change log. Yes, here log changes, only then it will happen. In other cases, it will not happen. Yes, it will not happen because then you need IP compliance. Okay, now coming to row store versus column store, when to choose? Yes, it will update AJ, correct. When to choose which store? So of course, standard table you should not worry. SAP will take care of standard table. We are not worried about that. We are worried about if in my company I am working as a HANA consultant and my manager is asking me to change a store and asking me to my suggestion when to go with column store and when to go with row store. This is also important certification question also. So that is why it is important for me to cover when to go row store and when to go column store. So let's answer. So if the table is read less frequently, then you go with row store. If the data volume is low, if the size of data in table is very low, go with row store. Yes. If you need, or let's say select star is unavoidable. If select star is unavoidable, then you go with row store. When you have large number of unique values, so unique value means you values are not repeating, then you go with row store because compression will not be good. Then if your data is updated very frequently and size is volume of data is low, usually it is more strict guideline for row store. Yeah. So these are the cases when you go with row store. Usually if you are unable to decide when which one to go with column store because guidelines are more strict when it comes to choosing a row store. Now coming to the column store. So column store, when the data is duplicating in most of the columns, because in that case you have a very good compression. Let me show you Mara only. If you just go see the data, see it's duplicating, it's repeating almost most of the columns. See material type repeating. You see most of the ERP table, if you open any ERP table of your area, check the data, you see most of the data is repeating. So in case of row store, this data is stored again and again. But in case of column store, I showed you, you get a compression. Yes. So in that case, you go with column store when the most of the data in the columns is repeating. When data volume is too high, which is in case of anyway master and transaction tables in SAP. So most of the master and transaction tables in SAP are already converted by SAP to column store. Yeah. So next comes is when never all columns needs to be read, which you all agreed with me when I was explaining it, that you would typically not need all the columns all the times. So you will go with the column store. Then next comes is the column store when we need to do aggregation on data. And usually in ERP, we have 70% read operations rather write operations. Just think of your career, just think of your ABAP career, and just ask yourself how many times you've written insert as compared to select, right? So you will find that you've written more selects as compared to insert, update, delete, right? So majority of the operations are read operations, and you also sometime majority of the time you might need to do a sum, mean, max, average, totaling manipulation on data after you read the data. So in that case, column store is a best fit, a perfect fit to minimize the data store. So this is why column store is preferred choice, especially when you're using SAP HANA database. Very, very important over here to choose column store. This will be also coming in certification. You should be ready with certification questions. I will also guide you the certification process in coming classes. You will get more comfortable. So those who are joining little late today's class, don't worry. We are recording it. If you missed some part of the class, you can watch the recording tomorrow after 12 o'clock. Recording will be available in our training blog. You can watch it. Okay. So data will not duplicate in column store. Data will can duplicate, but data will be compressed. Okay. Since the data is duplicating, there are high number of duplicates. System will compress the data. The compression will be very good. Like I showed you this example. So it is not like you can't duplicate data. Data can be duplicated, but data will be compressed better. Yeah, data will be compressed better internally. Again, I'm repeating the way it is organizing data internally in HANA. This is what I explained to you guys. It doesn't change too much for you as a developer. When you look at as a developer perspective, you still use SC11, you still work with the things the way you've been working. But this is internal way of organizing the data, how database is storing and managing the data to make you comfortable and believe that what HANA is doing is real. This is what HANA is cooking inside. This is what HANA is doing. This is what made possible for SAP to come up with such a concept called HANA. Okay. So still things will not change the way drastically for you, except those couple of settings which I showed you in the system. Now, the next very important question comes. We understood the basic concepts of HANA now, Anubhav. We understood that. But what does it mean for me as a developer? How it changes a developer's life, right? It's good to see, Anubhav, multi-core CPU, parallel processing, massive parallelization, data store in the RAM, faster processing, speed up of operations using cache store. So a lot of these benefits I understood. Very good, Anubhav. Fantastic. I love your lecture. But what is for me as a developer, as a ABAP developer, as a BW consultant in my company? I've been doing development in ABAP since last 10 year, 15 year. What it changes for me fundamentally, what exactly HANA how it's going to change my developer's life. So let's understand that now. So you all know the three-tier architecture. The first layer is presentation. Then we have the application layer, which is where all the processing happens. And then you have the database layer. This is our so-called very famous three-tier architecture. When you born in SAP, this is what is taught to you. This is basics of SAP. I am sure you all remember this. Yeah, this is what I teach to freshers. When I take freshers classes, when I take guest lectures in schools and colleges for SAP to explain SAP, what SAP is, that this is when I teach this diagram to them. This is basics of SAP. Three-tier architecture. That's why it's called R3, real-time three-tier architecture. So till today, as a consultant, you are working in industry. What was your coding paradigm? Your coding paradigm, my friend, was like this. You were basically writing reports, programs, modules, function modules, subroutine, classes. In order to do that, you were first declaring screen, selection screens. Then you were writing select star from database table, yes, into internal table, yes, into itab. And then you loop over the data, internal table, and manipulate the data. And if needed, you write the data back, print the data to the user, and you will close the program. So this was your life till today. The way you used to work in SAP, with SAP, for SAP. This is what you, me, we all were doing this till today. Correct? Which means if you look at this process, more and more processing was done in the application layer. In the application layer, this is where most of the processing is being carried out. More and more data, more and more processing, it's all done in the ABAP layer. Your ABAP layer is where you have most of the processing done, most of it. Yes. What was the use of database? Database is a dump yard of data. You dump the data and you just use it as a storage medium. Yes. We use, I'm proud to say, we use database as a dump yard of massive data. उसके अलावा database का और कोई purpose नहीं है. It's a dump yard of data where you dump the data. When you need it, you load it and you process it in application layer. That is how till today, as a consultant, you were working. Guys, the game is going to change now. For you as a developer, if this is what you've been doing, the pyramid has been flipped. Yes, the pyramid has been flipped now permanently, because now we are talking here about HANA. HANA is a in-memory database. It is more expensive. So when you buy more expensive stuff, you expect something extra from that stuff, right? So I'm using a Oppo phone, but you are using an iPhone. Certainly, you have paid more money to Apple for an iPhone. You will get better features. You will get better speed, better performance, right? As compared to my phone. So when companies are promoting themselves to HANA, they're paying more money, more license fees to SAP. So they certainly expect something more. But nothing comes as a free lunch. When a company pay for expensive system like HANA, they want to squeeze out better performance. But in order to do that, as a application developer, you have to also change the game. You have to change the methodology. So till today, most of the business logic was processed in ABAP layer, but now you got to flip it. You got to push down your logic deeper into the database so the database can process this data and prepare the final result to send it back to the application layer. This will bring down drastically the traffic between the application and the database layer. Earlier, you were moving massive data over the network from database layer to application layer by doing select and then processing all of it in ABAP layer, which was very expensive for your performance, because these are connected computers over the network. Moving data from one network to another is expensive. But now the game is changing. The game says the new game, what you got to play is to push down more and more business logic deeper into the database so that you can process it next to the data and you can prepare the final result, and only the final result is sent to the application layer. And this is called code to data paradigm. Interview, guys, interviewer will ask you, what is code to data paradigm? People who spent significant time on my classes, they paid attention to my classes and they read this PPT after the class every day, they have 99% chances of getting cracked into the interview. I have a very good track record of 90% throughput, 90% hit rate on my interviews. Top companies, Accenture, Genpact, Deloitte, Capgemini, TCS, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Satyam, Barclays, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, SAP Labs India, you name it. I've been part of their interviewer panel. I have seen my students working in all the top companies. They 100% crack the interview if they pay high attention to my classes. It requires the concentration. Every single bit of it I'm going to cover in this training. You all will be eligible to crack certification also, but you need to pay attention. This is called code to data paradigm. Interviewer will ask you what is code to data paradigm. Your answer should be, we would like to push down more and more business logic deeper into the database to squeeze out the best performance out of in-memory database, so-called HANA. And that's why we utilize new techniques like SQL scripting, AMDP, CDS views, calculation views, information modeling, view proxies, which is what going to be learned in this training. All of it I'm going to teach you one by one to learn these techniques to push down more and more business logic deeper and deeper into the HANA. This is the game changer. This is what will change for you as a consultant. Till today, whatever you've been doing is going to change now significantly. You got to adapt your code in a way that it can run faster on top of HANA database. So this is called code to data paradigm or code push down. Certification question, interview question. Write more and more techniques through which data is processed into the database, and only the final result is sent to the application layer. That way the network time between these two layers is significantly brought down as well. So this is called code to data paradigm. I hope everybody understood what it means for a developer now adapting to HANA. We are not going to learn core ABAP in this training. I will not cheat with you. You are here to learn ABAP on HANA and S for HANA. I am not going to cheat you to teach you ABAP. This is not ABAP classes. Exactly. This is ABAP on HANA. Our goal will be to focus on new techniques which will help you to learn this code to data paradigm techniques to adapt to HANA database. Having said that, let's take a short break for 5 minutes. On the other side of the break, we will go ahead and talk about the adoption of HANA, how it happened in industry. We will also discuss the concept of HANA architecture. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay guys, welcome back after the break. So before the break, we discussed about concept of what is made possible SAP to design HANA, row store versus column store and the benefits, when to choose row and when to choose column store for your custom table, and how do we do this setting. We talked about what it means for a developer now to do a code to data or code push down. Let's also talk about how software industry works today and how come HANA is changing the game. So how current solutions work together. So in general, how a ERP system works, how a BW system works, what is a BW system, what do we do with software industry. So let's take a simple use case of company like Walmart. So Walmart has four different stores. Assume, yes, right, they have so many, but assume that Walmart has four different stores. One is in Miami, one is in San Francisco, then in the New York City, and one is in Santa Clara. So let me note down these store names of Walmart into the system. And all these four stores are working with SAP ERP. So let's say SAP has a ERP. They are all connected to the ERP system. The main benefit of a ERP system is to have a centralized database where all the data is stored centrally. Yes. So there is a centralized database. So assume this is a traditional database like Oracle. Yeah, assume it's a Oracle. So what happens? Walmart stores are working day to day. They are making sales. All the data is synced with this same ERP system in the same database eventually. Yes. This is what is currently happening in the company. Now, what happens is this data is, or this system is called OLTP system, online transactional processing. Usually these systems are designed to write data faster. They are write capable faster as compared to read capable. Now, similarly to this company also have other systems from other companies. Let's say they have one Salesforce system for their CRM workforce. They have a Oracle Orafin system for Oracle Finance. And let's say they also have a system from PeopleSoft for managing HR processes. Yeah. So they have other software, other databases where the data is kept. So what happens is usually in a company, we need to also do data analytics. Why? Guys, there is a very famous quote, history repeats itself. When we got into pandemic, we thought this is the end of the world, but it was not. We came out of pandemic after a struggle of 2 to 3 years. And what made it possible for humankind to come out of such a powerful pandemic in just 2 to 3 years? It was the history. In the history, when there were pandemics, we know the past history that whenever there were pandemics in the world, the first wave was like good, the second wave was more dangerous, and the third wave has got a herd immunity. We have learned to live with the viruses, right? So this was the history of past pandemics, which helped humankind to survive one more pandemic. And we are at almost at the end of pandemic. Yeah, that's what it seems like. So for a company also, if a company is doing business since many years, whenever they stuck in difficult situations or whenever they plan for future, they always look forward for the past and they want to learn from their past experiences. You know, this is also said very oftenly in the industry nowadays, data is new gold. You might have heard about this sentence, data is new gold, right? So for any company, data is a new gold today. So why? Because it has lots of hidden patterns, which when analyzed can give good decision making for company. So to do that, what company does, they set up a business warehouse system or BW system. A business warehouse system is a system which is typically used to store massive data coming from multiple databases and multiple systems of company. Yeah. So multiple company systems, they will push data to this business warehouse system eventually, so that company can take better and faster decisions for future. Yeah. That is what companies do usually. So a business warehouse system is typically write optimized. Read optimized. Read optimized means it is capable of reading data faster. But first you need to move data from these old other databases to BW system. It's like a warehouse system, like a warehouse store humongous number of product quantities. It stores humongous amount of data. So companies put warehouse systems where they put massive data, and the process of bringing this data from the system is called extraction, transformation, and loading, ETL. Yeah, also known as data provisioning. So companies move their data to BW, basically inside a database. Let's say this system is running on HANA. Yeah. So one work is you need to move the data from the system to HANA. The second thing what company then does is once the data is fetched into the system, they need to join this data to make meaningful outcome because data is spread across multiple tables. So they need to connect these multiple tables together to make out some fruitful information, which can be represented in a certain way. So this process of connecting this data together inside database is called modeling or called data modeling, usually done by non-technical people or people who have good domain knowledge but not too much of coding or SQL knowledge. The third thing which is done then on top of this data model, there are multiple tools which are there in market, which we use to extract and read these models to present this data in a business readable format, not coding languages, but rather more, understandable business formats. Like, for example, tools like Microsoft Power BI. If you heard about Salesforce Tableau, SAP also had a product called SAP BobJ, Business Objects. Yes. And nowadays, it's very popular, SAP Analytics Cloud. So these tools are then used to fetch the data from these models and show this data in beautiful charts, amazing graphics, more drill down capabilities and stuff like that. This is how industry by far is working and worked. Where does HANA come into picture? So HANA can be used two places. One is with BW, where you can store massive data to achieve a good performance on your analytics. The second use case where HANA can be used is also here, that you can use now your ERP or running on HANA. As a result of that, you would perhaps not need now a separate BW system, because BW system were read optimized and these systems were write optimized. With HANA coming into picture, there is no need of separate BW system, except you don't have other systems. So in the past, companies used to have separate ERP and separate BW, but with HANA coming into picture, it's a single database which is both read optimized and write optimized. So HANA is also called hybrid database. This is why many companies these days are asking you to come out of BW and learn ABAP on HANA, or learn HANA modeling, or learn S4 HANA, because with S4 HANA, SAP is reprovisioning their story, and they're saying you don't need a ECC BW combination. You can just run entire ERP, and you also can run analytics directly on one single system. So a lot of BW people are also turning into my ABAP on HANA training is because of that, because companies are moving away from BW. And remember, BW is certainly is still going to be used. It is there, but some cases it will go out. Some cases still required because you still have other systems like this. Yeah, other systems. So it is still maintained. It's still going ahead in the market. It's not like it will completely go away. But at some cases, companies want to save cost. They don't want to run two systems, ECC plus BW. Rather, they run one single system called SAP S4HANA, where they can directly do analytics and they can do transaction on a single machine. So this is one main advantage of SAP HANA. It's a hybrid database. Yeah. What is HANA modeling? A modeling is nothing but a process of connecting tables together to build data model which are consumable by these tools. We will learn HANA modeling in our training. Don't worry, we will discuss that. So this is how the different solutions work together today in the market. So how HANA came into picture, how HANA was adopted. HANA was not adopted in one day. It's been almost a long journey of almost now 10 years are completing for HANA product. HANA is a product by SAP, and it has traversed a long journey. So let's take a brief history look up about how HANA came and how it was kind of, accepted and adopted by industry. So companies were using their traditional ERP system with the traditional remote RDBMS systems like Oracle or MySQL databases. Yeah, this is what companies were doing. Now, SAP came up with this revolutionary product called HANA as an in-memory database. So let's say a company like Nestle, which is running all their workstations on SAP ERP with Oracle. If SAP propose a new database called HANA in 2011, do you think Nestle will immediately throw away their Oracle and they will plug HANA on very first day? What do you think, guys? Will Nestle or any company, any big company, the moment SAP introduce a new thing, will they immediately accept and adopt by throwing their existing investment away from system? What do you think? Exactly. Good answer. They will not throw. But yet, humans have this curiosity. Yeah. Humans have curiosity. Humans will say, okay, I want to give you a chance. Right now, I can't throw everything. I want to give you a chance. I want to see what you can do for me. Yeah. So what SAP said is okay, fair enough. I also don't want to disrupt you. What SAP did was they said, okay, you don't do anything, don't replace it, but you just give me your existing system data. So you copy the data from copy, just make a copy of your data from here to here. And SAP also introduced something called Hey HANA driver. HANA driver allowed companies to connect HANA as a secondary database. Secondary database means the primary database is Oracle or any other database, this one, but HANA was running parallelly. Okay, this is called sidecar scenario. So HANA, which is a new innovation, is running like a sidecar scenario. And once they did it, they saw the potential in HANA. I remember one of the HANA implementation way back in 2012. I was working with a biggest bottle company in China. There was a report which used to take about 8 days to calculate something, which ran into 3 hours. And I was also part of one more implementation called Vienna Insurance Group in Europe, one of the biggest group of insurance companies, where we used to run a report which used to take about 3 days to calculate commission of commission participant for insurance. Yeah. And that report we ran it in less than 10 seconds when we did it on HANA. So customers were mesmerized to see the power of HANA DB as a sidecar scenario. And they started asking, hey, this is amazing. Is this real? They could not believe it that SAP can run such a fast speed. So they started demanding, when are you giving it? When are you releasing it? So first release of HANA was a beta release, which was given only to selected customers. But later on, SAP also got confidence. So they announced the first HANA was released with SAP's own product called BW. Remember BW? Business Warehouse System. So then after a great success of sidecar scenario, SAP announced that now SAP BW can run on SAP HANA database directly. You can run, and this was called BW on HANA. There was a secret code word of this project called Project Orange. Yeah, this was way back in 2014 beginning. This was announced. The BW version must be on BW 7.31, and HANA version must be SAP HANA Support Pack 2. 1.0 Support Pack 2 should be the version to run BW system directly on HANA DB. So that's where HANA has gotten into analytics part, and it has started giving good performance to BW consultants. But customers also demanding more. They said, we want to run ERP also on HANA. So that's when way back in 2014, end of 2014, SAP also announced that now any SAP ABAP system can run on top of HANA. Any ABAP system, but required that ABAP system NetWeaver version should be 7.4. You can connect HANA as a primary database. There is no need of driver or anything else. It entire ERP can run on HANA directly. Yeah, so this became ABAP on HANA, and all SAP solutions like SAP Business Suite, which is suite of solutions like ECC, Enterprise Core Component, SRM, PLM, HCM, and all the solutions of SAP, they started running on HANA. So this become SAP Business Suite on HANA, or in short SOH. Suite on HANA is what we call it as, where your SAP Business Suite runs on top of HANA database. Yeah. So now often people ask me the difference between Suite on HANA and ABAP on HANA, and I answer them in this way. Let me explain this in a layman way. So let's imagine there is a uh, engineer way back in 1889, and this engineer, automobile engineer, invented a engine. Okay, this automobile engineer invented a engine, yeah, a four-stroke engine, and this was a petrol engine. So initially the engines used to run on coal energy. Then came is diesel engine, which were very noisy. And then came is the petrol engine. Nowadays we're getting electrical cars, electrical vehicles, right? So petrol engine was invented. But now you have different brands of showrooms across the globe. Let's take three companies. If you, let's say, see Maruti Suzuki in India, one of the biggest car makers. Then let's say you have Hyundai, and then you have Honda. So guys, when you go to one of these showrooms, will they sell you petrol engine? Will they say, hey, this is my petrol engine, take it home? What do you think? When you go to any showroom, do they sell you petrol engine? Do they show you in their showroom petrol engine? Anyone? What do you feel? Yes, no, maybe? Anyone? No. What does the Maruti people show you when you go and visit their showroom? Anyone? What does the Maruti? They will show you Swift. Yes. They will show you Baleno. They will show you Swift Desire, right? What will Hyundai people show you when you go to their showroom? Come on. Anyone? Hyundai car owners, come on. What do the Hyundai people show you? Exactly. Very good. Am I correct? This is what Hyundai people will show you. What does the Honda people will show you when you go to their showrooms? Correct? Exactly. What are all these? Can anyone tell me what are all these things? All these in the blue letters. What are all these? These are products. What is the technology on which these products are built? What is the technology on which these products are built? Exactly. Is petrol engine. Do you guys understand a very important difference between ABAP on HANA and Suite on HANA? So if you are an automobile engineer, will you learn Swift, I10 or City? If you are an automobile engineer, you might have done automobile engineering, not computer engineering. What will you learn? Will you learn Swift, Baleno, I10, I20, Creta, City, Accord, Brio? What will you learn if you are an automobile engineer? You will learn petrol engine. And once you know petrol engine, you can repair any of the model, any of the product, correct? You can do maintenance and development of any product. Am I correct? Am I making sense? Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you guys clear? Layman way. My style of teaching is very different. It's layman way of teaching, not traditional way of bookish language. Yeah. Okay. So basically, you guys are software engineers. So what will you work with? You will work with technology, and the technology here is ABAP on HANA. ABAP on HANA is the technology. You as a software engineer work with this technology. What is this technology used to build by SAP? So SAP is a product company building product. One of their product is called Suite on HANA. Like I10. After I10, what came? I20. I20 is advanced version of I10, right? Yes. So after Suite on HANA, what came? Exactly, S for HANA. So guys, are you clear the difference between ABAP on HANA, Suite on HANA, and S for HANA? Yes or no? Can anyone tell me by unmuting their line, explain me the difference between ABAP on HANA, Suite on HANA, and S for HANA quickly, faster. Let's see who can do that.
So BAP on HANA is like a petrol engine, and Suit on HANA and S4 HANA are like Swift and Baleno, the products.
Correct. Very good answer. So if you go to SAP as a company and say, I want to implement your ERP, what will SAP show you? What will SAP charge you for? What will they sell you? They will sell you Suite on HANA and S4HANA. These are solutions. These are products. And to maintain this product, what kind of engineers the company need to hire? The company need to hire ABAP on HANA engineers, ABAP on HANA software developers. Like a company to maintain any car, they need to hire petrol engineers. Yeah. So ABAP on HANA, guys, simple layman way, is a technology on which SAP's latest products are based on. What are all those products? Suite on HANA product and S4HANA product. Now, you understood at least the major difference between ABAP on HANA, S4HANA and Suite on HANA. But what's the difference between these two? Yeah, that also we need to understand now. So let's me quickly explain what is the major difference. So guys, your business suite can run on any database. It can run on HANA also. It can run on non-HANA also. But your S4 HANA solution, yeah, S4 HANA solution can only and only run on HANA database. It cannot run on Oracle. This is one major difference between suite, business suite and S4. Okay. Business, this is one major difference. So technologically both are same. Technologically it's a ABAP on HANA technology. But the difference here is a suite or suite system can run on other database other than HANA also. It can run on HANA. It can also run on other databases. But S4 HANA only and only run on HANA. This is one difference. Second difference is in S4 HANA, S stands for simplification. We have a unit number 6 where I will show you what is simplification mean in detail. Okay, I will explain that in very detail what it means. You will understand there more in detail. Just understand today the basic theory. 4 stands for fourth generation ERP. So this is a successor of Suite on HANA. So Suite on HANA will end in 2029. So if your company is using business suite today, its support is ending in 2029, after which they will not support, SAP will not stop support for suite. So eventually you and your company will come on S4HANA one day. Yeah, you, some of you already did it, some of you are doing it, and some of you will do it in future, in near future. So eventually all of you will come on S4HANA product one day by 2029. Yeah, this deadline was earlier 2025. SAP later changed it to 2029. So every company will eventually use this new model of car. Yeah, it's like Maruti is supporting, ending the support for Maruti 800. Now you see Maruti is not selling 800. Spare parts are also not available, right? So it's like that. So business suite is going to end by 2029, and S4HANA will be the only solution which customers will use as a solution. And the technology to maintain this solution is ABAP on HANA. So learning ABAP on HANA is good for your career, because as a software engineer, you can maintain any of the car. Just like a automobile engineer learn petrol engine, and they can work with any car model by any company. Is this difference clear? Hello, I am asking to you. Hello, is this difference clear to everybody between ABAP on HANA, Suite on HANA, and S4 HANA? Yes or no? Yes. Very clear. Thank you. Thank you for your answers. Very nice. So now moving on, let's talk about HANA architecture. So of course, we are going to spend significant time on S4 HANA. Don't worry about that. We will learn and spend lots of time on S4 HANA. Now let's talk about the next very important thing. Now you know the essence of HANA, how HANA was adopted in company. So you need to also understand what kind of job profiles exist today in market. Yes. So what is the difference between S4 HANA and BW for HANA? So just like you see that suite on HANA evolved to S4 HANA, there is also something called BW on HANA. This BW on HANA. This also evolved to BW for HANA. BW for HANA means the BW system only exclusively runs on only HANA database. So normal BW system can run on Oracle also. But the BW for HANA exclusively runs only and only on HANA. Like for SAP Business Suite, successor is S4HANA. For SAP BW, successor is BW for HANA. That's the difference. Okay. Now, moving on. So let's see what are all the job profiles which do exist today around you in the company. So guys, actually we have SAP HANA database, which is very powerful, but there are different job profiles which does exist today in company around HANA database. There are a lot of job profiles. You need to be very careful about which is your cup of tea and which is not your cup of tea as a consultant. Okay. So HANA is also called platform because it has so many different components. It's also called hybrid database. Yeah. Because it can do both OLTP and OLAP, online analytic processing as well. So that's why it's called hybrid database. So we will discuss the architecture in the next slide, but let's quickly understand the different job profiles around HANA. So HANA also comes with also a application server inbuilt inside. It's called Access A Engine, which provides runtime for building applications which can be built on Node.js programming or Java programming. So that is also part of HANA. So let's understand what are all the different jobs and job profiles which exist today around you in your company, because it is very easy that you guys will get confused one day in our current training and you'll start thinking that is this what am I supposed to do or not. So I want you to be very clear of who is doing what in our company. Yeah. What are all the different jobs, what are the different profiles, what are the different works around us. So the first work is called HANA administrators work. Who is a HANA administrator and what is this guy does in the company? Yeah, let's understand that. So a HANA administrator, what is the duty of a HANA administrator? So the first thing, their duty is to install HANA DB in on hardware. Yeah, they will connect HANA to ERP systems. They will manage system users, assign system database roles, build roles and assign roles. They will check database security. They will take database backups and also do recovery of database. If database kind of crashes, they do recovery of database. They will check health of database. They will check load analysis on database. Yes, take regular backups and do load analysis. This is what HANA administrator does. Do you relate to this job with your profile? Anyone? As a developer, do you relate yourself with this job? Is this job for you? Is this what you supposed to be in the company? Perhaps not, right? So we are not responsible for this. This is called HANA admin profile. Yeah. Okay. Then comes is the second profile where there is something called HANA native development. In HANA native development, basically you will work with this Access A engine. This is more suitable for companies which buy only HANA database, the companies which do not have ABAP system on top of HANA. Yeah. Some companies, because guys, SAP HANA itself a product. SAP is also selling just the database. Yeah. SAP also sell HANA as just a database like Oracle. Oracle is majorly a database company. They also have ERP solution, but they are mainly selling database. So SAP is also selling HANA as a database. So the second profile is coming as HANA Access A developer or HANA native developer. Main job of these kind of people is to work with HANA intensively and build native HANA apps. Use HANA Access A engine to create Access.js, Access O data, yes, Access app, yes, create database objects using HANA DDL language, create end-to-end HANA native applications, more suitable for companies who only buy HANA standalone. Is this relevant for you, ABAPers in the room? What do you think? Is this profile relates to you? Again, no. But some of you are curious. Some of you may want to also learn this in future. Don't worry, we also have a dedicated training. If somebody is interested to learn native HANA development with Access Advance, you can go to anubhavtrainings.com, and we do have a course for you because I am a developer by blood. So I have covered almost all latest and greatest technology in the world of SAP and the world of new SAP and HANA. So we do have also this separate training of 50 hours in video mode. If just in case some of you may be interested to learn HANA Access and Access A, or maybe around you some people in your company, they are willing to learn HANA Access or Access A, then this course might suit you. Yeah, it's a application developer course. I have sold this course mainly to companies who buy HANA as a standalone solution, a standalone database. They don't have any ABAP system like S4 or Suite or ERP. They just buy HANA as a standalone database. So to those kind of companies, I have designed this course for actually. Yeah. So if some of you might be interested, so you can take this training after the current training. But I strongly recommend to not take this training at all. Yes, because you are all working as a S4 HANA or going to work as a S4 HANA consultant. So this might not be helpful for your career. Yeah, so rather than focusing energy on ABAP on HANA might help you more. But just in case if you are interested, you can later on take this training, because Anubhav Training is committed to provide you all the latest and greatest knowledge. Now, coming to the third type of profile, these are basically called HANA consultants. These people are responsible to move data from Oracle or other databases to HANA database. Yeah. Basically, they are doing ETL or data provisioning. To do this, they are expertised on different tools, ETL tools like SAP Landscape Transformation, SLT, Business Object Data Services, DXC, Direct Extraction and Transformation. These kind of different tools they learn to migrate data from their Oracle systems to new systems, yeah, and do data connectivity, data movement from old systems or legacy system to HANA system. Then also do data modeling and also do connect data BI tools with HANA, and also to some extent they do data analytics. Yeah. So this is second profile in market. Again, we are not this because our goal is to make our application developed on top of HANA with a above system. So again, this work might not be very helpful, but there is one part of this work which is helpful and important for all of us, whether you are BW consultant or whether you are ABAP or HANA consultant, which is this part, data modeling. So this part exclusively is important for us, and we will be spending significant time on this part, which is actually a work of HANA consultant. But since our goal is to learn end to end, we will also spend this topic significantly in our training. So hold your breath. In unit number 7 is when I will cover this topic more in detail for everyone. You will be comfortable with the HANA data modeling, which you might know it as a concept of calculation views, attribute views. We will be developing that in our training. This is one like a cross topic which a HANA consultant also know, which a ABAP consultant also know. Because many time in your company, your manager will ask you to consume a data model built on HANA. Yeah. So when you come across such situation, you should know what a data model is. You should know how it is created, how it is moved, how it is transported, how it is developed. So all of that you will, once you know it, then you will be able to do it. Otherwise not. So this is one work of HANA consultant which overlaps with our job profile. The next comes is called ABAP on HANA consultant. This is our main bread and butter. This is what we will be focusing on as for HANA consultants, technical consultants, I would say, not functional. So this is our main bread and butter. So what kind of work which you expect here in this space? So let me Um, write down lots of points here, and you will see perhaps this is a great opportunity for everybody at the point. So let's see. So let's say you are working as you have developed lots of reports, modules, module pools, function modules, RISE objects in your company by far and in ABAP language. And now your company or your manager asks you if this code will work when we go to HANA DB. When my company change database from Oracle to HANA, is this code going to work or is this code going to fail? Whatever you've written in the past. This is one question your manager will certainly ask you, or maybe already asking you. That's why you are here. Yeah. So we will be learning this part. This is one job, important job of a ABAP HANA consultant. In addition to that, they will ask you, or we want to fully leverage HANA DB for ABAP. How can we do? What benefits does HANA provide me when it comes to ABAP? How to run existing ABAP code faster by using code to data paradigm. How to consume HANA models in ABAP. My manager attended TechEd this year and asked me to explore S4 HANA and CDS views to use best practices in our S4 HANA project. This is what they are pressurizing me, Anubhav. They are asking me to learn latest things and use them and apply this knowledge on my S4 HANA projects. So this is what my manager is asking me. They are forcing me. So this is also an important thing. How to build HANA optimized apps, Fiori apps with latest S4 HANA programming paradigm. What are all the best practices for S4 HANA? Everyone in my team talking about CDS and AMDP. I feel unsecure on my knowledge and job. I feel I don't feel like going to office every day. My confidence is very low because everyone around me is working and they're learning new things. They're working on new things. I feel very demotivated to go to my job because I'm still stuck with core ABAP. I'm not able to find a good path, good pave a new way to a new world or new career paths, new avenues to change my team, change my project, change my company, double my salary. I'm not able to find a good path, good direction. What can I do? Yes, I'm sure some of these questions which I'm putting across to you, all of you, you are able to relate to them. Yes. Then comes there are lots of new stuff like Fiori, OData, integrated ALV, Integrated Development Environment Framework, ALV IDA, how to use them with HANA. Yes, my company is migrating to S4 HANA. What to check in my code, ABAP code, and how to fix my ABAP code to make it run smoothly on S4 HANA system. Do you guys relate to one of or more than one of these points which I've written? If yes, you are at the right place. What do you think, guys? Is this what you can relate to? Yes, very important. I am a BW person. My company asked me to learn CDS and S4HANA. Do you guys relate to one of these points or more than one points? This is what we will be focusing in this training. I want all of you to be confident and be sure of what we are going to focus. What will be our focus area? Not to cross the boundary line. Tomorrow somebody should come and ask, hey Anubhav, can you show how to build XSO data? Certainly not. Not in scope of this training. This is not what a ABAP on HANA or S4HANA consultant will do. Never. You perhaps need to approach a native HANA developer in your company, or tell your manager to approach a native HANA developer, or tell your manager to learn native HANA trainings with Anubhav trainings. Yeah, so that this work can be done. So you need to be very clear about the goals and the strategy and the things which you're responsible for. Tomorrow somebody come and say, hey, can you take a backup of HANA database? Not my job. Job of HANA administrator. Find a HANA admin in your team. Find a HANA administrator in your company. So very, very important, guys. These are different job roles around you today in the market. Different consultants around your neighborhood must be working in your company or your partner companies, where they're focusing on different stuff like that. Our focus and goal is very clear. This will be our focus and goal in this training. If not, you are not at the right place. If this is not the intention of this training, you are not at the right place. But if one of these points you can relate to your job, you can relate to your work today, or you're stuck in a situation where you've been asked to do these things, you are at a very right place when it comes to this training. Okay. Having said that, that's the end and wrap of this training. I did not explain about server access. Don't take server right now, because next week, this now we have got the weekend over. Our next class is next weekend, which is next Saturday. So if I would have told you about server today, if you activate server today, you will lose unnecessary 5 days. Yeah. So I don't want you guys to lose 5 days. Next week onwards, when we start real hands-on in the system, is when we would need server. So we'll talk about server in the next class and connectivity in the next class. We don't need it. Our main goal was to kickstart. Our main goal was to understand the essence and the need for learning HANA, what HANA is all about, a brief introduction to set up the right fundamentals, right background, right foundation to kickstart this training. And I feel the foundation is set. You all know the purpose, you all know the goal, you all know what we will be doing together in this training. And next class onwards, we will start real hands-on, real stuff into the live system with system demos and more. That's the end of today's episode. Any questions on today's class, please feel free to ask at this point of time. Yes, more of a theoretical class today. Exactly. This theory is very important to get the picture right, get the broader picture right, get the goals clear for this training. Is Sidecar HANA is live sync or scheduled sync? So Sidecar HANA nowadays, no company is doing it. This was way back in 2014 or 2013, I guess. So I hardly know any company doing this. This is completely a obsolete approach, but it was not a live data. It was a basically replicated data, which was not scheduled. It's a one-time replication just to try out HANA in a beta mode. Yeah. When something new comes, you just want to try. You don't want to own it. I tell you one example here. My dad, when I got a new car, my dad was not happy. He was happy with his Maruti 800. Yeah. He didn't even touch my car. I asked my dad to sit in my car one day. He refused to do that. He was he was complacent to, or he was not confident to go with new car. Yeah. So that was the situation with customers when HANA came newly. People didn't knew the power. And one day, when there was a situation, Maruti 800 was not starting in the winters. I let my dad drop to his office, and that day he realized the power of the new Swift Desire. Yeah. So then he started demanding, from tomorrow onwards, I'm going to take your car to the office. Yeah. So that's what happened. So now nobody's using Maruti 800. So this situation is no more there in the industry. What is the benefit of business suite on HANA, as database can be anything? So the benefit of suite on HANA is basically you get code to data paradigm. The moment HANA comes, you can actually do code to data paradigm. That is the benefit of suit on HANA as compared to suit on any other database. So this is what our goal will be throughout this training, to learn these code to data paradigm techniques, which you can not just apply on S4HANA, you can also apply on suit on HANA system if your company is on suit on HANA. Yeah. So that is what, Rachit, it means to run suit on HANA database. As long as there is HANA, you can achieve code to data paradigm. That's the goal of this training. So as a software engineer, we will focus on technology, which is above on HANA. We will not focus on uh, individually on one thing, just S4 or just suite. So that way you as an engineer will prove your expertise and be capable of working any product of SAP. Just like a automobile petrol engineer can work on any of these models which are available in petrol variants. Is Salesforce a threat to SAP in specific segments? Yes, in the CRM segment, it's a threat to SAP, but SAP has a big ecosystem. Salesforce is good in CRM, and it is a fastest growing cloud company in the ERP space, but SAP is not less than that. They have also so many connected solution, and integration is the real power of SAP. Yeah, which makes SAP one of the leading brand in the ERP space. But if the result can be achieved by using suit on HANA, why company will spend time on S4 HANA? Very good question, Sonika. We will answer this question in unit number 4 when I will start S4 HANA introduction. You will be more comfortable at that time. Okay. Which is better, sir? ABAP on HANA plus SAC? Yes, that's a good combination, Narayan Singh. You can go with ABAP on HANA and Analytics Cloud training. As an application developer, ABAP on HANA plus Fiori is better if you want to stay in coding and application development. But if you want to jump into analytics area, then ABAP on HANA and SAC is better. For BW consultant, I recommend ABAP on HANA plus SAC pill. But those who are want to remain in coding like me, I'm a big fond of coding. After 20 years, I still love to code. So I love coding. So in that case, ABAP on HANA plus Fiori is a good combination. Are all companies moving to S/4HANA, and until when SAP's ECC support will continue? So adoption is started as far as industry data shows. Is still only 30% or 32% companies have moved to S4. So there is a huge adoption coming in, guys, and trust me, there will be a huge demand for consultants like you in the market. So adoption is still 30%, not 100%, but by 2029 you see a huge upside in the adoption of S/4HANA. BW for HANA is going to obsolete and replaced by DWC? No, not really. BW for HANA and Data Warehouse Cloud are two parallel products. One is a on-premise product and one is a cloud product. So they have different use cases actually. And that's not in scope of this current course, so I will not be able to talk more about the comparison between them. So going further, do we need to learn core ABAP? We can design transaction module pool program in Fiori. So going forward, you don't need to learn core ABAP or module pool program in terms of screen programming. You can stay with UI5 Fiori to learn how to design Fiori apps. Yeah. So you don't need to learn dialog programming anymore with core ABAP. Not needed. Not needed at all, because dialog programming is obsolete technique now. Every new UI which is being built, it's built using Fiori. And in this training also you will learn some part of building UI using Fiori. Without Fiori knowledge also you will be able to do hands-on. Having said that, thank you so much once again for joining the class today. I will catch